foregoing is a copyrighted presentation of the Southwest Athletic Conference in conjunction with Raycom Sports and Entertainment.
For 16 years, David McWilliams was an assistant coach at the University of Texas. Then in 1986, he answered Texas Tech's call to become its new head coach. That year was the Red Raiders' most successful in nearly a decade. But when Fred Akers departed Texas, McWilliams went home to Austin to try and lead the Longhorns back to prominence. That opened the door for Lubbock-born Spike Dykes to coach his hometown university. Today, Texas Tech hosts the Texas Longhorns as David McWilliams returns to Lubbock. Raycom Sports and Entertainment presents Southwest Conference Football. Today's game is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealers. By NCNB Texas. By Coke and your Coca-Cola bottlers. By the Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company. And by Miller Genuine Draft. This afternoon, we are on the South Plains in Lubbock, Texas, at a sold-out house at Jones Stadium. And a couple of ball clubs that like to get it on. The Red Raiders of Texas Tech played host to the Longhorns of the University of Texas. Hello, everybody. I'm Ron Franklin, along with Dave Rowe. A capacity house and a gorgeous afternoon. What else could you ask for in two good football teams? And a rare situation in college football, Dave, and the fact that both of these head coaches have coached together at both universities. This afternoon for the Texas Longhorns, they're going to run out a red-shirt freshman at quarterback in Mark Murdoch.
Well, and it's going to be an exciting moment for Texas because they've decided to go with young Mark Murdoch. He was 20 of 28 2 weeks ago, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. But, Ron, there has to be a big question on leadership and poise.
Well, when it comes to a situation like that, he has a gentleman behind him who wears number 2, Eric Metcalf, one of the best all-purpose backs in the country. Probably David McWilliams thinks that therein will come some of the poise for the freshman.
Oh, I can promise you that. That's Mr. Excitement, Eric Metcalf. He contributes about 40% of their offense. He can break it any time, on the run, on the swing pass, on a punt return. He is Mr. All-Purpose Yardage.
For the Texas Tech Red Raiders, the man who pulls the triggers, the redhead from Boyd, Billy Joe Tolliver. Over 250 yards passing against Rice week before last. That's the third time he's done it this year. And the man that he depends on, one of the best little men in all of college football, Ty Thurman.
And when you talk about little, you really mean little. 5'3", 135 pounds. That's little, but his statistics are large. He's returned 4 punts for touchdowns, and he has had 3 of them on Raycom Sports. That really says something, doesn't it?
Says something about the fact that he likes the lights and the television cameras. So we shall see. Texas Tech playing host to the Texas Longhorns. Kickoff is coming up in just a moment, so stay with us here on Raycom Sports and Entertainment.
To capture your interest, we've decided to raise ours. For a limited time, you can get our fully insured High Yield Plus CD. But that's not all. For the first 90 days, we'll pay you a bonus rate, up to 15% APR on a 5-year CD. Now that we have your interest, maybe we've got your attention. So come by for details on all our High Yield Plus CDs. Only from NCNB Texas. Member FDIC.
Both of us work and we live pretty good. Yeah. But if I suddenly checked out, I still want Helen to live good.
Thanks a lot.
No. I mean, like, keep the house.
Oh.
Get the kids through school. Maybe take a vacation once in a while.
Great. What happens to you if I check out first?
Well, now, you had a cousin who lived to be 104.
She was adopted.
Jefferson Pilot Insurance and Financial Services.
Critical acclaim for our performance. The new Ford Probe is one of the finest front-wheel drive performance cars in the world.
The GT suspension is precise and responsive.
The futuristic exterior is matched by an interior that's open, airy, and modern.
The new Ford Probe and Probe GT, a performance you won't forget.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
As
the Longhorns take the field here at Jones Stadium to the echoes of some boos from the partisans. And as we said, it is a capacity house this afternoon. They're looking for sellout situation. And Dave, it's easy for an announcer to say what a gorgeous afternoon for football, but I'll tell you, I'm not sure there's a cloud in West Texas. If there is, we can't see it. Here are the weather conditions. Absolutely ideal. 69 degrees, humidity, a mild 57%. Now, the wind could turn into a factor as the afternoon goes on. 14 right now. It could gust higher than that, and the forecast is for clear. And you hear the gun sound as the Red Raiders take the field.
And Ron, you talk about that weather condition. That wind is blowing. It's blowing the length of the field, so it possibly could be a factor late in the game.
In other words, we're not getting the swirling effect. It is from right to left. A situation that Texas is confronted with this afternoon, Dave Rowe, and you can identify with this as we look at the series and how they stand. Texas Tech won the last home game here. 23-21 was the final score. The defensive players, the defensive tackles, this has been an unbelievable situation. Llewellyn, shoulder, operated on last year, came back, played one game, was out. Hackamack, gone for the year with a knee. That happened against Arkansas. Rocky Allen, knee, gone for the season. That happened against Arkansas. Pritchard, a knee, happened against Arkansas. He could be back next week, but is certainly not going to play this afternoon. Paul Moriarty, a freshman from the Conroe area, Conroe-McCullough, they were going to redshirt him. They had to bring him back. The very first practice he was in, he injured a neck. He's gone for the season. They moved Lance Wilson over from offensive tackle to play defense. He broke a leg in a scrimmage last week, and right now it is not a funny joke, but as Bill Hicks, the defensive tackle coach, walks through any place on campus and sees some of the players, they look the other direction. They say, no thanks, we don't want any part of that position.
Well, one of the things in that list of injured defensive tackles, Ron, is Llewellyn. Steve Llewellyn's playing with a sore shoulder, which has been dislocated several times. He's going to have it operated. That could be a big factor, because they just don't have any depth at tackle.
Spike Dykes standing on the sideline as Wayne Clemens has the ball teed up at the 35-yard line. The two gentlemen who are back, Price, number 10, as Clemens sets to tee it up. He's a left footer. There you see Price to the left side and little Ty Thurman to the right side. Just about set to get this one underway from Lubbock. There's the whistle. Clemens moves forward. And it's going to Thurman's side, about 9 yards deep in the end zone. And he will go to one knee, and the Red Raiders will take it over at their own 20-yard line. Opening at quarterback this afternoon, as we said, they call him the redhead from Boyd. As you see, the balloons go in the air, the red and black. Senior out of Boyd, Texas, and he would love nothing better than to equal the series for him at 2-2 against the University of Texas. There you see the offense. Gray and Ferris will be the running backs. Ty Thurman is the wing back. Eddie Anderson is the split end, and the tight end is Charles Lott. The offensive lineman up front, Odiorn, right is the center. Tommy Webb is the right offensive tackle. First play from scrimmage, and had to go with a draw play. It is Gray. Left side has 3 out to the 23-yard line. Britt Hager from his middle linebacking spot, along with number 90, Warren Bolden, the senior out of Killeen, combining on the stop for the Longhorns. There you see the down 4 as Texas plays that true 4-3. The linebackers, and they're very good ones. Hager in the middle. Brockman, certainly the most underrated of the group, youngster out of Hereford, Texas. And as you called him, Dave, the kiddie core in the secondary. They are so very young.
They really are. 2 sophomores, 2 freshmen, 1 senior in that unit.
Quick out pass. It comes to Thurman. Was it behind the line of scrimmage or not? The officials say yes, and it is going to come out of bounds back at the 8-yard line. And amazingly, Ty Thurman didn't go after the football.
Well, and even more so, Stanley Richard didn't go after the football also. He had a better chance to get it. I was surprised he didn't, because you immediately called it, Ron. It looked as if it was a lateral, and it was on that play.
Here are the musts in the ballgame. The light must for Texas Tech first.
Well, of course, they have to stop the run. They have not been able to do that effectively all year. They have got to have a good game, and that's play selection now of Billy Joe Tolliver. As he goes, so goes the team. And contain Eric Metcalf. Notice I didn't say stop Eric Metcalf, because no one can stop Eric Metcalf, but you have to contain him on the plays.
Situation, it's a loss of 15 on the lateral. On the 3rd and long, Mercer checks into the secondary. Pass knocked down, and Mercer, the man we were just talking about, out of Springtown on the cover, and a marker has been thrown at the 20-yard line.
And the way Texas Tech is jumping up and down, I think it's going to be pass interference because they're all pointing towards Texas.
Frank Shepard, the referee today, and he signals pass interference as we get another look at it.
You may see it. Maybe the arm on the back. Now look and see how the defender comes across the back. See, the left arm reaches in and touches the ball out, but you see where the right arm is around the waist? That was a pretty good call, a good position for the referee to be in to make that call.
Dave, if something happens on this drive, put a huge asterisk by that, because with a third down and so very long for Tech, all of a sudden they get a total reprieve with a first and 10 at the 20.
And they would have been punting into a pretty stiff wind.
So a new set of downs for the Red Raiders. Ferris, near sideline, 25, breaks off a tackle, and he's going to wind up with a gain of 8 on the play. He'll come all the way out to the 28-yard line. Matt Garza, the freshman right out of high school from Refugio, Texas. He's over to make the tackle for the Longhorns.
And, Ron, you look at that average 6.5 yards to carry. I'd almost test them to see if they, in fact, could run that. I know Texas is very aware of that middle. In talking with David McWilliams, he said, we have got to play strong in the middle and force them outside. That time they forced him outside, and he picked up 8 yards. You have to play that outside run when it bounces out, your outside linebackers especially.
One of you just joined us. We are just about to complete the opening minute of play from Jones Stadium this afternoon. Texas Tech in the opening drive. Ferris in motion, but they come misdirection. It's Gray, gets the block at the 30, out to the 35, now the 38-yard line. The initial first down of the afternoon, Odiorn with a very good block, and it's Garza and Hager over to make the tackle for Texas.
And, Ron, on this play, look at Ferris go in motion. That drew the defense, and you see how Gray kind of slipped that way. They brought the lineman out to block. I think that might have been Odiorn coming out there and blocking it and allowed Gray to get that corner. A misdirection play, and the linebackers played too quickly on it.
Coming back to the short side of the field, trying to catch Texas in over-aggressiveness. So it's first down at the 38. Right up the middle, Gray stops, maybe a gain of a couple, as Brockman from the outside linebacking spot, along with Steve Llewellyn down at the bottom of the pile for the Longhorns.
You can see James Gray's statistics, number 2 rusher in the Southwest Conference. Good average coming into this game. He's averaging 6.5 yards to carry, as was Irvin Ferris coming into this game. 6.5 yards to carry by your running backs. That's quite an average.
Gain of 2, they say officially. They will scrimmage with a second down and 8 at the 40-yard line. 2 wide receivers to the left. You see Thurman in motion. Is Tolliver on the play action. Going to go long, and he has a man, Eddie Anderson, and he's got it inside the 20, down to the 18-yard line. Mark Berry on the cover, but Anderson high in the air for the first down. 42 yards of the pass play.
Well, you talked about Tolliver's rifle. We all know, everybody knows that he has a great arm. He throws this ball up as well as you can throw it and leads Eddie Anderson on a slight post pattern. The defender doesn't have time to come back. A lot of time he had to throw that ball. He's setting it up with that short play fake inside, Ron.
Kevin Sprinkles, the junior out of Troy, checks into the ball game at tight end. Pitch back comes on the running play. Gray hit all the... Brockman with a very fine defensive play, and Britt Hager out there also, and it's going to be a loss of 1 for the Red Raiders. It'll be a second down and 11.
Boy, you got to love the way these linebackers, Brockman and Hager and Duncombe, play along that line. They slide. That time Brockman just stuck him right on the line. There was no gain. In fact, about a yard loss on that play.
Mark Steed checks into the ball game at left defensive end for Texas, replacing Bobby Duncombe. Tolliver, Gray, Hager again stepping up into the hole, and he'll knock him down at the line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden it's a third down at 11 situation. Red Raiders.
Now, when you're a middle linebacker like Hager is, you have got to step up. Watch him here. Key to quarterback, sees the action. Now step up in front of the play. Don't make it behind the line. Step up there. Nice play by Britt Hager to step up in there.
Dave, I think one of the concerns from David McWilliams with the injuries to all the defensive tackles, under the scheme of the 4-3, if the tackles don't do the good job, they have to keep the lineman off the middle linebacker, and that is a key ingredient to the defense and the way they Longhorns play it. Third down. Has a man over the middle, wide open, and he missed it. Unbelievable. Oh, my.
Well, in fairness to Tolliver, he saw him late. He saw Travis Price late. He had zeroed in on his receiver, and he was going to go to him. Now, watch the action here. You'll see him. He's going there. All of a sudden, he says, wait a minute, there's Price. And he was off balance when he threw it and threw behind Price. But you talked about it. Look how open he was.
Blackshear also had gone open over the middle, and that's who he was pumping to. And I think a defensive hand in his face is what caused him to pull it up. Scott Segrist trying to get one from 37 yards. Plenty of distance, and he is good. So the Red Raiders are on the scoreboard first. And let's take a break with 11:38 left to play in the opening period. Our score, Texas Tech 3 and the Texas Longhorns nothing. We'll be right back.
Mark and Brian of Rockin' LA. It's another hot one out there. 98, 12 degrees and no relief in sight. It's hot, hot, hot.
Right now, the only thing that would taste better than a nice cold one is a cold filtered one.
Man, I could sure go for one of these.
Because if you want a beer whose rich, smooth, dry taste hasn't been changed by heat pasteurization, we've got it down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. It's as real as beer gets.
We have a slightly revised forecast. It's called Go, Go, Go.
Americans have made Top Ford the best-selling big pickup for the past 12 years. Ford, the best-built American trucks, 8 years running, built Ford South.
Well, you get a very good look at Lee Whitehead, the masked rider for the 1988 season on Midnight Raider. Lee is out of Sonora, Texas. A long-time tradition here on the South Plains at Texas Tech University. Yards in 11 plays. And as we said, Texas Tech, with the benefit of that defensive pass interference call on a third down and very long after they had lost 15 yards in the pass play, which was turned into a lateral. But they get the first down, and they wind up converting. The key play, the 42-yard pass play. Metcalf at the 8. 20, 25, and he gets tripped up as he crosses the 25-yard line. Reaching in to grab a hand. Another 10 or 15 yards as the Longhorns had a good corridor up that right side. Now let's take a look at the offensive starters for Texas today. There's the man out of Round Rock, Westwood, Mark Murdoch. He'll have Metcalf and Norris behind him. Walker, Jones, Stephen Clark, the tight end. And this time he will light up in the tight end formation. A lot of times they use him in the flex position. Straight ahead, handoff to Norris. Going to have a Texas Tech on the 4-3. Perry and Royal, the two defensive tackles. They're the linebackers. Mike Derryberry, the man in the middle, and he's the one who has his hands full this afternoon. Marsack and Walker are the corners. Murdoch, first pass of the afternoon, has Tony Jones at the 48, and he steps out of bounds for the first down. A deep curl to the sideline for Jones.
And a little surprising call there by Texas to throw that deep on the first play.
Here are the light musts for Texas this afternoon, Dave.
So, of course, they have to stop the pass. That's on defense. They have to recover from the defensive injuries on their defensive line. They've been decimated there, and they've got to have Mark Murdoch play well as quarterback. That's both in play selection and in his leadership and poise, Ron.
Terry Cash in for the ball game as Stephen Clark comes to the sideline. Longhorns with the first down at the 49. Metcalf tries to get outside on the left, fumbles the ball, has been picked up by Texas Tech and inside the 45. The play will be dead at the recovery spot at the 43-yard line.
And Ron, this ball just squirted out of his hands on that run. You'll see Metcalf coming right at you. Now he makes his turn right here to the outside, and when he cuts back up, the ball just comes loose. It didn't even look as if, well, it did get touched there. That might
Dale Watson, number 18, got a hand on it. And that is only the 4th fumble that Texas has lost this year, Dave. That is something they have not had a problem with. So for the Red Raiders, a very big break as the ball recovered at the 43-yard line. 3-0, Texas Tech leading. 10 minutes, 48 seconds left to play in this opening period as Tolliver possibly with an audible. Goes to Ferris, right up the middle. Warren Bolden, first man to make contact. It's going to be a gain of 3 up around the 46.
Warren Ferris, what a size he has. Real compact, 5'11", about 225 pounds. Great start and a great center of balance. He just does not get knocked off his feet very easily.
You see, he's from Fort Worth. And, of course, his running mate, James Gray, they've seen each other run and block for the other for a long time. Both are out of Fort Worth Trimble Tech. Tolliver blitz up the middle. Pass is put up quickly. It is knocked away and incomplete as Eddie Anderson, the intended receiver. Mark Berry had the cover, and give credit to quarterback Billy Joe Tolliver because Warren Bolden was all over him. At first we thought it was a blitz.
Well, you'll watch right here to the tail end. Bolden, now he has never started a game here. He's a fifth-year senior, first start ever. Of course, a lot of it was due to the loss of all the defensive linemen, but you have to give him credit on that time, getting a lot of pressure up in the face of Tolliver. That's what they have to do in order to control Tolliver's passing, is get that pressure up the gut right in his face, get those hands up, and confuse him. They'll run downfield. Don't let him see, and the field, just roam the field.
Ty Thurman, you can barely see him. Top of your screen, he is slot to that side on the 3rd down. Tolliver looking, that's who he's got. Thurman at the 40, at the 35, gets a block, and he may score. They're going to say now he stepped out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Gray with a good block on the play, but that is enough for the Texas Tech first down. And it was Bierman and Berry, or Mercer and Berry, who wind up with the tackle.
And watch Thurman on this. He's going to roam the middle. He loses his coverage. Now he's right in the middle of the zone. Now he has to come back up right there. There's where he steps out of bounds. Good call by the referee. He was out of bounds 3 or 4 steps there. But he is just roaming across that middle. He's so small, sometimes you just lose him. See right there, Tolliver just finds him across the middle in that zone, and everybody else is running him deep. Now see his foot right out there. The referee in perfect position to make a good call.
Out there right in the perfect spot, and he stepped him out of bounds at the 38. But the Red Raiders, with 9:53 left in this opening period, leading 3-0, and that's a gain of 16. Thurman in motion. Gray in the draw play will go for one, maybe a couple, as the middle of that defensive front for Texas very tough. Duncombe gets off the bottom of the pile. Also Warren Bolden. Well, Bolden's some kind of story. He came from a situation of being almost a third-teamer, and with the injuries, is called on to start this afternoon. A 5-year player at the University of Texas. His brother was a basketball player there.
I can tell you from having experienced experiences like that, sometimes you play your best games. When you finally get that chance to start, and you're starting for a major university like Texas, it's just an unbelievable, exuberating experience, and sometimes you play very well.
Pass over the middle, in and out of the hands of Price. Matt Garza had the cover, but Dave, I'm not so sure that didn't go through his fingertips at the 15.
Well, I think the safety coming over kind of disrupted him. You'll see it on the right part of your screen here. See if the safety doesn't make him take his eyes off the ball. See the safety rolling? I think he just kind of pulls it down short there when the safety flashed in front of him.
Stanley Richard, number 18, is the man who cut in front of him. And now for Texas Tech, and this has not been a problem down for them. 3rd down, this is almost what BJ has been pointing for, isn't it?
Yes, he loves 3rd down completions. He's done very well in 3rd down situations.
Texas with a 3-man rush. Tolliver has his man, Tyrone Thurman, inside the 25, and he's down to the 23. Garza on the stop, but I'll tell you, the little guy, and we talked about him off the top, Mr. Dynamite, he has just been getting himself wide open.
Well, you think when you think about a player at 5'3", 130 pounds, you think he's fragile, but he's not. Look at him again, roam across, and he loses his coverage. This is man-to-man coverage. When he makes that fake out, he just loses his coverage, and then that was Tex Mercer. He just lost him. And there's his mom.
Lady in the middle of the screen is Ty Thurman's mom. Texas Tech with the 1st and 10 at the Longhorn 22-yard line. You could hear Tolliver hollering to his wide receivers. Texas showing blitz, and they're coming with the safety as whistles are blowing, and it's going to be, I believe, delay of game against Texas Tech.
Boy, that one there will make the quarterback, the coaches, that'll turn their stomachs, because you just don't want to waste 5 yards when you get down at the 22-yard line. It just really grinds you. But you mentioned it, Tolliver was coming off to make an audible.
Also, Paul Bierman, number 22, was stepping up, and Texas did have the blitz coming, and possibly with the audible at the last moment. The extra thought is what cost him the 5 yards. Situation here. David McWilliams certainly doesn't want to go down by 10 points in Spike Dyke's own backyard midway of the first period. That's a real bad chemistry wherever you're playing. Tolliver scrambles, dumps it off, has his man, and the ball is dropped by Sprinkles, possibly just a tad short. As Duncombe was applying pressure, Tolliver had to just loft it over a couple of Texas players. Sprinkles couldn't come back and get it.
Well, Tolliver's not known as a great running quarterback. He's more of a strong pocket passer. On this play, he makes a nice decision right here. He's under a lot of pressure. He just throws it up a little bit short. You can see the ball coming down just before Sprinkles could come up with it.
Dwayne Duncombe, number 48, got a hand on the football. Sprinkles had it misdirected just a little bit. So the situation for Texas Tech, it is 2nd down. 2nd down and 15. Pass into the flat. Ferris gets by one tackler and is going to be knocked out of bounds just outside the 21-yard line. Hager finally finished him off. Brockman, one of the first men over to make the hit. Brockman, also one of our GTE players, was represented at the preseason banquet up in Dallas, Texas. He is a cumulative 3-4 for the Longhorns. 3rd down situation. Listen to this, Dave. Texas Tech has averaged 14.3 yards on 3rd down so far. They lead it 3-0. Fred Stromeyer has come into the secondary as the extra defensive back for the Longhorns. Tolliver, protection, breaks down, is hit, gets by Brockman, still on his feet, breaks it open again, and overlaid it at the 25. And is finally going to get back to the line of scrimmage. It'll wind up as a gain of 2, and we got to see that a couple of times. What an effort by Tolliver as German finally makes the stop for the Longhorns.
Well, this was going to take them out of field goal range, and we talked about Tolliver not being a great running quarterback, but look at the tackles here. One missed tackle. There's another one, 2, 3, 4, 5, and finally 6. Here comes another one right here. Finally, they get him down for a 2-yard gain.
Barry also came over to help, so Sigris trying to put his ball club up. Low pass from center. Kick is a line drive kick, and by golly, it went through. That was a spiral sideways, and he got it. So with timeout on the field, 7:10 left to play in this opening period. Let's take another look at the field goal. Watch the trajectory.
That's what you call just enough. Look at this. It just barely clears the goalpost.
Yeah, David was spiraling. It wasn't turning end over end. Let's take a break. 7:10 left in this opening period, and our new score, the Red Raiders 6 and the Texas Longhorns nothing. We'll be back with more from Jones Stadium in just a moment.
It's a splash in the heat of the day. Just a sip, and you're gonna say, hey, 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 can't stop it, can't stop it. The feeling you get from the Coca-Cola Classic, can't beat the feeling.
Win a trip to the Cotton Bowl or the Hula Bowl in Hawaii. Enter the Coca-Cola Southwest Conference Superfan Sweepstakes. Look for the Coca-Cola display at your nearest Kroger supermarket.
Guys, you're not going to believe this. To hear Mike was named to GTE's academic honor team. Everything comes easy to that guy. I'll bet he doesn't even have to study to get good grades. And he spends half his time at the pizza place.
The GTE Academic Honor Team was created to honor outstanding student athletes like Mike, because we know not everyone gives them the recognition they deserve.
And we'll round up this afternoon. Notre Dame short kick. It is going to come down to Chris Samuels at the 20. Looks for a spot to run, and he's going to pick up 5 on the return. And, Dave, I'm not sure if the wind did that or what, but so many ball clubs have done that to Texas to keep it away from either Garza, Metcalf, or Tony Jones, who are always set as one of the deep double.
Well, Ron, in fairness to the kicking team, as we look at the play, 10-play, 36-yard drive, it was highlighted, of course, by that fumble recovery. But the thing that you try to do is you try to get your field goal extra point and kickoff kicker to kick that ball way high so it comes down around the 20.
Mark Murdoch, who completed his first pass of the opening drive and then the fumble. Pressure from the backside, breaks off a tackle, looking for Stephen Clark, and he throws it incomplete at the 45. As he scrambled, Clark had run beyond the cover man and had found himself open. But it was a good job of positioning by the Texas Tech Charles Rowe, the sophomore out of Killeen, and it goes incomplete.
Now, I want to ask you a question. Coming into this game, did you think we had 2 scrambling quarterbacks? Neither one of these guys are supposed to scramble. Tolliver he's run the ball 30 times for minus 143 yards, and we know Murdoch's not a scrambler.
Well, those numbers right there, very telling as far as what these 2 ball clubs have done in their first 6 ball games. Longhorns with a 2nd and 10. Deep draw. Metcalf cornered in the backfield, tries to get outside, and he will wind up with maybe a couple on the play, and that's it. Looked as though he was going to be corralled for about a 5-yard loss, and he winds up getting back to the line of scrimmage.
And I can tell you who made this play. Donald Harris is going to make this play. Watch when Metcalf gets in the line. We talked about him being Mr. Everything out there. Now watch Donald Harris come in there. He's the one who's causing him to turn back in. Harris was out there all by himself.
Longhorn with a 3rd down and 8. Murdoch over the middle, knocked down. Mike Derryberry didn't look back at the quarterback, it appeared. Stephen Clark, the intended receiver, and listened to the roar for the defense. Bobby Liljedal with the punt, driving spiral. Keep an eye on the little man Thurman from the 12. Jay Jaquist on the special teams as a late marker, and now 2 has been thrown downfield as a Texas Tech Red Raider, Mathismeyer, and Liljedal, the punter, were pushing and shoving back at the 50-yard line.
That'll probably be offsetting. It looked as if both players kind of got into a little skirmish there.
60 yards in the punt by Liljedal. Frank Shepard says unsportsmanlike against both ball clubs, offsetting, so Texas Tech will take it over at the 26-yard line.
Right now, the only thing that would taste better than a nice cold one is a cold filtered one.
Can you draft anymore?
Because if you want a beer whose rich, smooth draft taste hasn't been changed by heat pasteurization, we've got it down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. It's as real as beer gets.
It's been the world's best-selling car 6 years running. Maybe it's because of features, reputation, or overall value. Whatever it is, it's no big surprise if you've driven a Ford Escort lately.
Winning the world over. Have you been behind the wheel? Winning the world over.
Now get a $400 cash bonus on Ford Escort.
There you see the score. Texas Tech leading by a count of 6-0. Now let's check on time of possession so far in this ballgame. I know that Texas, before the fumble, only had the ball 57 seconds. We'll check it in just a second. Flag goes down. Ferris breaks off a tackle, gets to the outside, and he'll bring it out to the 27, which is going to be a gain of about 1 on the play.
That calls illegal motion, Ron, in the backfield of Texas Tech. Now, the decision, Ron, is to see whether Texas wants to take the play or take the penalty. Of course, it was a 5-yard penalty. I think they'll take the play. That's what they did, in fact. Take the play. Second down will be second down and 9 yards.
James Patton has checked into the ball game. He is a freshman for the Texas Longhorns. He will occupy one of those 2 defensive tackle spots. And the fact he has moved in on the left side, Bolden continues to work on the right. Red Raiders leading 6-0. Screen pass, Ferris. 30, hit from behind as he is cracked hard. Ball is loose, and Texas has recovered at the 37-yard line. They are still fighting for the football at the bottom of the stack. We see Hager down there. And it appears that Willie Mack Garza came up with the football. We'll get another look at it.
Ron, I don't know who hit Ferris from the back side, but let's watch it and see. It may have been Hager, number 60. When Ferris cuts back across the field, watch to your left the tackle here.
That's number 90, Warren Bolden.
That was Bolden. It was number 90 instead of 60. And we talked about him.
You know something? You made the point. And Warren is a very good athlete, and the coaches have known that. It's a thing of working your way ahead, but you talked about people stepping forward when they're called upon. Longhorns get a turnover. They had one earlier. Straight ahead, inside the 35 and down to the 32, Darren Norris. Charles Perry, the junior out of Iowa Park, the first man to make contact, as you see David McWilliams with his hands on his knees across the way. He has seen both sides of this football field in the same capacity as head coach.
Well, what he wants to do in this situation is have a very safe drive, get down and score. They could be behind 14-0. Fortunately for Texas, they're only down 6-0.
Move put by Norris. Marker goes down as Metcalf turns it up, breaks it down to the 21-yard line, but it will come back. As Darren Norris, you could see number 34 move out of his stance prior to the snap.
Well, I can tell you, you always talk about a home field advantage. As we see the motion call, the home field advantage is noise because you can hardly hear the snap count with the crowd screaming.
Number 33, Deion Cockrell, will check into the ball game after the 5-yard penalty, replacing Norris. Stephen Clark goes out. Kerry Cash will bring in the play. Cockrell is an interesting story. Only a sophomore out of San Antonio, and when he has played this year, has played exceptionally well. It's just been a thing of trying to unseat Darren Norris, the senior out of Oceanside, California. Murdoch throws to his tight end, incomplete. Tony Jones had broken open over the middle, but he wanted to throw to Kerry Cash down around the 20-yard line. Do it just a little bit short. Going to be a third down situation. Longhorns need about 10.5 for the first down.
Well, Clemens has got a long field goal of 56 yards, 55 yards, I believe it is, so they're almost in his range. But I know David McWilliams wants to score on this drive. It takes a lot of impetus away from Texas Tech.
Stephen Clark in the ball game. He will go flex to the right side, the big tight end. Murdoch. Good protection. Sets the screen pass. Metcalf with a block inside the 30. He's going to be run out of bounds, and I don't think he got the first down, Dave. He didn't at the 29. Charles Rowe, the sophomore out of Killeen, bumps him out of bounds.
And what a circus cast by Metcalf on this play. He comes out, he slides out into the flat, and he catches it just like he's got a baseball glove on. One hand just scoops it in and takes it down the sideline. You're right, Ron, they came up short. It'll be about a 46-yard field goal attempt.
Wayne Clemens, longest of the year, 55. Texas hurrying to the line of scrimmage. The left footer will look at an attempt of 46. Murdoch is the holder from the near hash mark. As the distance, and He is no good. Wayne Clemens misses the field goal attempt, so let's take a break. 4:26 left in this opening period. Red Raiders lead it 6-0. We'll be right back.
To capture your interest, we've decided to raise ours. For a limited time, you can get our fully insured High Yield Plus CDs. But that's not all. For the first 90 days, we'll pay you a bonus rate, up to 15% APR on a 5-year CD. Now that we have your interest, maybe we've got your attention. So come by for details on all our High Yield Plus CDs. Only from NCNB, Texas. Member FDIC.
Una fiesta muy grande, Paul.
I got it, Randy. You want me to invite all my amigos to drink Miller Lite to the biggest party in history.
Those
2 million Texan Miller Lite drinkers at one party? Are you crazy, man? My family alone can fill a stadium. Ramon, Manuel, Pepe, Gonzalez, Bubba Lee Gold.
There's only one light beer with a taste big enough for Texas. Miller Lite.
We're having a party. We'll get back to you soon with more details.
Mañana.
I didn't know you were bilingual.
Yeah, those.
Well, there's the Coliseum where they play basketball here. Gerald Myers and his Red Raiders. As the Red Raiders lead it by a count of 6-0. I mean, not a cloud in the sky. What a magnificent afternoon here on the South Plains. Gray hit as Bolden steps up into the pocket again. And so far, number 90, Warren Bolden, has had a very good football game, stepping in as a reserve at that defensive tackle spot.
Well, Ron, I can talk from experience on that. I know what it's like. You lose your confidence, and all of a sudden somebody gives you a chance, and you want to prove to everybody that you can play football.
Gray hit from behind as Hager comes from the middle linebacking spot. Brockman also comes over to help out as Nathan Richburg, the junior out of Roscoe, was out front blocking on the play. And that's going to bring up a 3rd down for the Red Raiders.
And I like that kid Hager back there, number 60. Runs the line. I told him when we were down there and they were warming up, I said, don't cross your feet or I'll have to say something bad about you. He said, just keep your eye on me.
Britt is probably as dedicated as any football player, certainly in this conference. Very hard worker. Tolliver going to go long. Far sideline, incomplete. Down at the 30-yard line. Barry on the cover. Price, the intended receiver.
Well, that was nice coverage by Mark Berry, number 9 for Texas, running stride for stride with the receiver. He had Price down the sideline all by himself, and that is when you really earn your keep on a football team, when you can do that one-on-one coverage and stop that pass.
Jamie Simmons kicking into the wind, and this is a dandy. Garza all the way back inside the 20, and you see him retreat, and is going to be hit and tackled at the 20-yard line. Great kick and super coverage by Texas Tech. 45 yards into the wind.
That ball looked like it looked a lot like a discus to me. It just stayed up there. I think the height of the ball was the thing that was so overpowering. Just amazing that young man was able to throw that ball and kick it as high as he did into the wind as well and have great coverage on that play.
Still the Longhorn scrimmage, 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Trying to get something going offensively with 3:07 left to play opening period. Metcalf turns it up. We'll have 5. See, the ball came loose after he came to the turf. Texas Tech scrambling for it as Dal Watson came up with the ball. Also, Mathis Meyer helping out on the stop.
One of the things that runners that are like Metcalf have is they have a tendency to carry that ball because they use so much of their upper body for their moving and speeding and juking that they sometimes carry it carelessly. He has not done that so far this season. He did have that early first fumble, though.
Deion Cockrell continues on this series to work at fullback. Metcalf hit at the line of scrimmage. That is Desmond Royal, who steps right up into the hole, knocks him down. And, David, this has been a situation that Metcalf has seen all season long. He is just a marked man wherever he goes.
Well, you don't come in as the offensive player of the conference and expect to be not marked man. You can see Royal in there. Nice move on the center to knock up the center. He's a load, 6'1", 270 pounds, and he is a real bulwark in there, real stout, strong, short player.
Third down for the Horns. They need the 30 to keep the drive alive. Zips the pass over the middle, complete to Clark. Breaks the tackle, and he comes out to the 42-yard line. As Boyd Cowan finally corrals him, but for Texas, they will move the chains. And Clark is a man who has wanted more footballs thrown in his direction, and possibly with that catch and run right there, possibly he should be getting more.
Well, coming into this game, he only had 3 catches, and you can see...
And they all came in one ball game.
Yeah, and he is a big target at 6'5". You can find him across on that crossing pattern, and Murdoch said, hey, I'm going to give you a shot, and he threw it to him.
6-0. Texas Tech leading. About a minute and a half left to play in this opening period. Metcalf looks for a block on the outside. There is not one. Spurlock is out there to turn him a flip. As we look at the storyline so far in this one, Dave.
Well, of course, it's been Clements' missed field goal. Murdoch, 3 of 6 for only 43 yards. But Tolliver, 5 of 11, 89 yards. Segrist, 2 field goals. One, you marked it, 2 plays. That fumble by Metcalf set up 1 field goal, and then that penalty deep in the Red Raiders territory, which allowed them to continue that drive. That's been the story so far.
On second down, zips it out in the flat. It is complete. Chris Samuels, the sophomore out of San Antonio, catches the ball in the flat as Charles Rowe bumps him out of bounds. It'll be shy of the first down by just about a yard and a half.
Ron, as we look to the sideline, there's Metcalf on the sideline. Now, he doesn't spend much time on the sideline, not when you contribute 40 to 50% of the offense.
You know, one of the things that David McWilliams has suggested, the number 2 running backs, Cockrell and Samuels, in every ball game they have come in, have shown a real spurt. And it's almost like it takes away what we talked about last week in the Arkansas-Houston game. It takes away a keen situation for the defense. 2 tight ends for the Longhorns. Short yardage situation. Samuels, he didn't get it. Comes inside the 49, but it is Charles Perry who made the initial contact.
This is a little bit surprised. You'll see Jerry Berry, number 48, goes right to the play. There's no fake on the play. Now, the center gets out and gets a nice play. That's Champagne, but they just, you see, he comes off it, gets back in there. He's 74 is Charles Perry. Desmond Royals down at the bottom of the pile.
Lil Judal with the punt, angles it for the sideline. Another very high coverage kick. It's going to bound at the 5, and then Texas is going to down the ball at the 1-foot line. James Lee got downfield on the special teams and ran underneath it inside the 1 on a 48-yard punt.
I couldn't believe how close this ball was to the line. Watch the feet of the man who's going to down it. His feet are right on the white line. Look at him, right on the white line. He doesn't step on that line. See him looking down?
James Lee out of San Antonio downs the punt. And the Red Raiders will take it over. And everybody, even the offensive line, are going to line up with their feet in the end zone on this scrimmage play.
Okay.
Now watch Tolliver pull that ball back and throw it. He's been known to do it in this situation. This could be the longest pass play in college football history if he throws a strike here. They're inside the 1-foot line.
Well, keep an eye on the man at the top of the screen, Ty Thurman. But the quarterback will take it straight ahead. Patton, one of the first men to step up into the hole and make the hit on the quarterback sneak. Also, Warren Bolden off the bottom of the stack, and as the clock runs down, 2-1, and that is the end of the first period with our score. Texas Tech 6 and Texas nothing. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
In the compact pickup playoffs this fall, it's Chevy's S10 pickup against the Ford Ranger. Chevy's S10 pickup has a bigger engine than Ranger, and the S10 has more horsepower and more legroom. We'll have to give the S10 points for more cargo capacity, too.
And price, the Chevy S10 is just $73.74. $73.74 for a new S10 pickup.
Your best pick is clearly the Chevrolet S10 pickup. And Ford Ranger? Well, let's give him a point for being a good sport. See your North Texas Chevy dealer now.
Today's high-performance engines may require a high-performance gasoline. Or they won't perform to their full potential. Gulf Super Unleaded is the high-octane gasoline with the unique Techroline additive. No other premium cleans entire intake systems better. Gulf Super Unleaded. Unlock the power.
6-0. We're trying to get a report down on the bench. We are told by our spotter, Steve Ross, for the University of Texas, that possibly big offensive tackle Stan Thomas may have injured a shoulder on that third down play just a moment ago. We'll try to get a report. Second down for the Red Raiders, deep in their own territory. As Tolliver zips it in the flat there, Thurman got to be tackled at the 15-yard line as Mark Berry got a hold of him. And now I think they're going to say that as Tyrone was making his spin move, that his knee touched the ground at the 13.
But that's what I look for Tolliver to do. It's a great place to throw the ball deep in your end zone because everybody's thinking run. Now watch the knee of Thurman on this play when he makes that inside move right there.
Good
knees
call.
Down. Good call by the referee.
Yep, the officials right there and saying that as he spun around, the knee touched. So you could see the ball just across the 13. But most importantly for Spike Dykes and his crew, it moves the chains. First down. You can hear the pads popping down on the field as Hager steps up to make the hit on Clifton Winston. First quarter stats. These are the numbers.
Well, you can see there that it has been mostly Texas Tech when they had those two drives. They've controlled the ball 9 minutes to 6 minutes. They're only ahead 6-0, and that's important. And, Ron, we do have a report that Metcalf has a twisted ankle. He's walking around on the sideline. He's trying to walk it off, but he has a twisted ankle.
Second down at about 6. Tolliver wheels that pocket to the right, tipped and almost caught as Mark Steed, the left defensive end, got a hand on it, and still the Red Raiders almost completed the pass to Kevin Sprinkles.
Oh, boy, if they could have come off this play. When Tolliver rolls out, he's pretty much limited to going to strong side, so he has to throw there. There's the tip right there. The ball continues and is almost caught on the backside by his wide receiver, number 83. But if he had had a chance to look down, Eddie Anderson on a crossing pattern was wide open. But, of course, that's ifs and buts.
Paul Bierman, one of the reasons that he could not is Paul was applying pressure on the quarterback also. Fumbles the snap from center. Ball is loose. It looks Texas Tech. Let's see. Nope, the Longhorns have recovered inside the 10-yard line. Britt Hager, the middle linebacker, the senior out of Odessa, comes up with the football, and the Longhorns have it just inside the 10.
And I think it was the defensive tackle who kicked the football. You can see there's Ferris diving for it, and Hager comes up with it on a wild scramble out to his side. Gosh, does that give him great field position for Texas? This is a break that they needed. They just have not gotten anything. They haven't had the opportunities that Texas Tech has had in this first period.
Chris Schaefer was hustling for the football, number 65. Stan Thomas to complete that report. He is back in the ballgame, and so is Eric Metcalf. Metcalf to the left side, puts the shoulder down, may have one, and that is it. Tremendous pursuit by Texas Tech. James Mosley, the senior out of St. Matthews, South Carolina, comes over to make the initial hit on the play.
I know what I'd do if I was Mr. Metcalf. I'd say, Coach, let me throw just one small option pass because everybody is running after him. When he runs the line, the safeties, the corners, and everybody's coming up.
Second down and goal. The ball at the 8-yard line. Burdock puts it up in the end zone. Touchdown, Kerry Cash. You see the celebration and his twin brother, Keith, coming over. Kerry had the most catches on the year, but no touchdowns. Keith had only 3 receptions, but all 3 were touchdowns coming into the ballgame. So now both of the twins have tallied 6 points out of San Antonio, Texas. Clemens out of the hole to Murdoch. Kick is up, and he is good. So let's take a break with 13 minutes, 3 seconds. And before we do, let's take one more look at the pass play just a moment ago.
And Ron, this is a timing play. You can see Skurlock has his back to the ball. See, Cash is looking back at it. He's got the advantage in that play. He just throw it up high, and Cash uses that great size.
When you say using their size, both Keith and Kerry Cash are like 6'5", were really good high school basketball players, and it's a play that Texas has used to good advantage because of their leaping ability, the short drop and the quick up pass all season long.
Well, Skurlock is just barely 6 foot, and Cash is, what, 6'4", 6'5". So you can see there's a big advantage there.
So let's take a break. Texas up by 1 with 13:03 left to play until halftime. We will be right back.
Listen, I've got a favor to ask of all you Miller Lite drinkers. It's about the party. Now, I'm supplying the beer and the chips. And what I was wondering is if maybe one of you could bring, 100,000 gallons of dip. Personally, I'm a clam man, but Onion will be fine. I know it's a lot to ask, but just think how proud you'll be when approximately 2 million people say, "Who made the dip?" Get back to you soon with more details.
There's only one light beer with a taste big enough for Texas. Miller Lite.
Critical acclaim for our performance. The new Ford Probe is one of the finest front-wheel drive performance cars in the world.
The GT suspension is precise and responsive.
The futuristic exterior is matched by an interior that's open, airy, and modern.
The new Ford Probe and Probe GT, a performance you won't forget.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Good look at the youngster who just caught the touchdown pass just a moment ago, Kerry Cash. David McWilliams has said more than once in the year and a half that he's had the twins on campus that he just says, "Cash, come here," because he said, "I can't tell them apart, particularly when they got their headgears on unless I see a number, as they are identical." Clemens moving around with the football, and he's going to bring it over to the near hash mark. As you take a look at Price and little Ty Thurman on the right side. In case you missed the opening of the telecast this afternoon, one of the things that Thurman has done very well, and particularly on Raycom television, and that is returns for touchdowns. He has a total of 3. That is on television, 4 total. Going to come down to Thurman at the 6. Look out at the 30. Garza will catch him from behind, and a marker comes down at the 49-yard line. 44 yards on the return, and it's just what we were talking about. If Garza doesn't grab him, and he may have grabbed him by the face mask to save the touchdown.
Oh, if he did, in fact, grab him by the face mask, I'm sure, and that's the call, I'm sure that David McWilliams is awfully happy. Now, watch the acceleration. I love to watch this little guy run, because when he sees the seam right there, look at that, head down, arms pumping, he's just going for it. Now, right here is the tail end. See that face mask right there? That's pretty much the blatant face mask. That should be 15 yards.
It is. They have moved it down to the 34-yard line, and the Red Raiders just that quickly not only have the ball across midfield.
Look at that picture, Ron. That's me and him.
That's you on the left, right?
Yeah. Well, I just was amazed. He was looking at my Super Bowl ring there. And look at the size. Now, I'm a normal defensive tackle.
And Ty is 5 foot 3 inches tall. From the Texas 34 for the Red Raiders. Ferris in motion. That's who they threw to. Deep marker from downfield. Now, let's see if they call defense or pick.
I thought that was a pick. I thought Tyrone Thurman picked him on the play.
Tolliver is out there trying to pull his players back so that Frank Shepard and his crew can make the call. We're going to show it to you as soon as we get the call from Shepard and his crew.
And, Ron, just to set up before we look at that play, the call is a pick, if it is, in fact, a pick. And that's just like a basketball pick where you wipe one guy off on another one.
Okay, let's show you possibly what happened. You see that David McWilliams is not happy. Well, as we watch the pass from there, you're not going to be able to tell as much. As Thurman came driving across, he is the pick man, taking that defensive back out of the play. Maybe we can get it better from this angle.
Well, watch to the left. You'll see Thurman block on the play. Right there. You see Thurman block on the play. He's blocking number 17, who's Garza on the play.
Back to live action as flags go down. Texas players are applauding and possibly an illegal procedure against the Red Raiders.
And Tolliver's coming over saying he needs a mouthpiece.
So a timeout is charged to Texas Tech. 12 minutes and 52 seconds left until halftime. We're going to stay here and take a break, guys. We'll hold it right here. Spike Dykes.
Ron, I was
talking to Tolliver on the sideline.
What made me laugh is he ran over for a mouthpiece. Now, whose mouthpiece do you borrow?
So let's break in the action. Texas 7, Texas Tech 6. We will be right back.
Don't let high airfares push you out of the vacation picture. Try our new one-way fun fares. Well, you waited so long for a fare to get so nice and low. Now you're really fine.
Southwest Airlines fun fares are so low. Now you can fly just for the fun of it.
Why don't you come along with us? 'Cause we got a lot of things to do now. Now you're really fine. We'll have fun, 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 flying Southwest on a fun fair today. Fun, fun, flying on a fun fair today.
Mark and Brian, rockin' LA. It's another hot one out there. 98, 12 degrees. I know really. It's hot, hot, hot.
Right now, the only thing that would taste better than a nice cold one is a cold filtered one.
Man, I could sure go for one of these.
Because if you want a beer whose rich, smooth, dry taste hasn't been changed by pasteurization, we've got it down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. It's as real as beer gets.
We have a slightly revised forecast. It's called go.
Billy Joe Tolliver and his passing records. Boy, that's a long list, and they continue to grow as his senior season continues. This game number 7 for him out of Boyd, Texas. Draw play. Gray breaks off. One tackle will be knocked out of bounds at around the 30-yard line. Mark Berry from his right cornerback position along with Oscar Giles. Seven to 6 as you watch the clock running down. 12:47 left until halftime. Price will check into the ball game at wide receiver for the Red Raiders. Eddie Anderson will come out. Capacity crowd on hand this afternoon to see this matchup between the Red Raiders and the Longhorns. Gray again. Dwayne Duncan steps up, coming from his outside linebacking position. Also Oscar Giles, and he will be down at the 30-yard line.
Ron, that's great movement by those linemen to be able to come back against that. It's a roll draw that he's done the last 2 times where he looks as if it's almost pass action. He gives it to the back, deep in the backfield, rolling away from it, and the linemen have got to recover so quickly. That's one thing Texas has got, those quick linemen.
David, we've just been handed the official attendance, 49,682 basking in this West Texas sunshine this afternoon. Third down for the Red Raiders. They need the 24 of Texas to keep the drive alive. Incomplete in the end zone. Garza with the cover. Blackshear the intended receiver.
Well, that was awfully close. Blackshear had to catch that ball straight over his back. It would have been right over top of his head.
Into the sun.
Into the sun. You can see here how close that ball is. Stick those arms out. Look how close that is.
Sickrist will come on to attempt a 47-yard field goal. He already has 2 today, which makes him 8 of 14 on the season. Plenty of distance. And he is good, but there is a marker down back at the 38-yard line. Let's check it.
Ron, if that's running into the kicker, it's an automatic first down. Watch the tail end of this with Secret. When he comes through, now watch right there, you'll see him get run into. Now the decision is whether you keep the 3 points or take the first down.
Dwayne Duncombe, as you could see, tripped over Garza and came into him. And let's see if Spike Dykes will take points off the board and take the first down. They have said that they will decline the penalty. Field goal is good. So with 11:55 left until halftime, we'll stay right here. Texas Tech goes back on top, 9-7.
And that's an interesting call. That really is an interesting call by Spike Dykes, because a lot of coaches have a great tendency to say, hey, wait a minute, we got first down, we're going to go for it. But as we look at the Apple Roundup, boy, I'll tell you, Notre Dame has no trouble with Navy, do they, today?
LSU has come from behind it at halftime, leading Ole Miss 17-7.
And, of course, in that Clemson-Wake Forest game, 7-7 in the second period, Clemson was stunned last week.
And one more score, Miami leading East Carolina.
Well, right now, if you're a Texas Tech fan, you're saying, kick that ball deep. We want to hold them down there. If you're a Texas fan, you're saying, we have got to get some offense. We've been fortunate. If they didn't recover that fumble down deep, they'd have been out of gas early.
David, one thing we're trying to check on right now, I think it might have been running into the kicker, a different penalty from roughing the kicker. So Spike might have used the only option that he had, unless he wanted to move Seacrest up, and why? He's already kicked the field goal if it does not carry the automatic first down.
Yeah, the difference is one is an automatic first down, the other one is just a 5-yard penalty.
Now it has been assessed, the 5 yards, so that answers our question right there. As Tech will kick it off from the 40, and with the trailing wind, this one should go almost out of the end zone, and it does. Metcalf watches it go a couple of yards deep over the end line. Scoring drive for the Red Raiders, 4 plays, 4 yards. Seacrest with the 47-yard field goal. And as we check downstairs, that was the situation.
Well, I think you made the point there, Ron, that he was tripped into him. That's the difference in the call. The other one is roughing, where you take a shot at him, and what happened to him on that play, on Duncombe on that play, is he tripped over top of someone.
Kevin Nelson checks into the ballgame at wide receiver. Young man who has been in and out with an injury to his collarbone. Finally back at full speed. Murdoch gives to Metcalf, opening up the middle over the 25 to the 26, maybe the 27, as Boyd Cowan, a senior out of Odessa High, comes from his strong safety position to make the tackle for the Red Raiders.
You think they don't zero in on that young man? Just got his helmet knocked off.
Seesaw battle. 9-7 as Tech went on top 3-0, then 6-0. Texas came back and took advantage of a fumble just outside the Tech 9, scored the touchdown, and then the Red Raiders back with that 47-yard field goal. Straight ahead on the handoff over the 30 is Deion Cockrell as James Mosley makes the stop defensively. That's a gain of 4.
I watched the matchup in the middle that time. I'm watching Desmond Royal from Tech against Alan Champagne of Texas, and I mean, they have had a battle at nose tackle. They brought Royal over into an odd man lineup where he's lined right up over top of the center. Ouch.
And Dave, here's the situation of two guys that have played a lot against each other because both have played for so long in starting positions. Murdoch has Tony Jones, and he can't hold on at the 45-yard line. TJ was open just beyond the 40. Let's take another look at it here.
And he certainly should have had Jones on this play. Jones should have come up with this catch. He's a little bit more worried about getting down than he is catching. You've got to concentrate on that ball and look it all the way in while you're sliding down. Here's that matchup in the middle. Now, this is a pass block. This is a little bit different. But you can see they're meeting head-to-head, and they have a lot of respect. They're keeping Soleil in there to help him a little bit, the right guard. That Royal's a load in there in the middle.
Second down for the Longhorns as they scrimmage for their own 32. Metcalf tries to get outside on the left, looks for a block, and he is going to be corralled at the 37 as Skurlock helped play off the block of Stephen Clark and make the tackle. Mark Murdoch. We found out something else very interesting about him, that both his parents went to Texas Tech.
Yes, and his father evidently was a cheerleader here, so they came over on the plane to watch the game today.
Third down situation for the Longhorns. They need to reach the 41 and just beyond to keep the drive alive. Murdoch over the middle. Ball is tipped. It is intercepted. Derryberry, and he's going to be tackled at midfield. Metcalf on the tackle, and Murdoch put it up in a crowd.
And on this play, Derryberry is playing a middle zone, so he drops on his zone, and he tips the ball and even has the concentration to come back. Now watch Metcalf just come across the middle here. Derryberry's number 48. You'll see the tip right in here. There's the tip by Derryberry right there. Now watch, he even has the insight to come back and catch that ball. Now Mr. Metcalf's got to be a tackle. And you'll see it here, right over top of the middle. Now Derryberry's 48. See 83 sneak out of the backfield. That's boom.
Rowe also, as you see the tip right there, Rowe had very close coverage, number 38 on Metcalf over the middle. So 2 turnovers against the Longhorns now as they go with Ferris at right side. Taking a group with him inside the 45. It's going to be a gain of 7. James Patton finally corralled him, but not before Big Irwin Ferris, the senior out of Fort Worth Trimble Tech, takes it down to the Texas 43.
When I walked down the field, he really amazed me. I looked at the compactness of his body. He looks like he could be a defensive tackle. Look at the size of the chest on that young man.
5'11", 220 pounds. Gray, hit, fumble the ball, scramble at the 44. Who's got it? Everybody pointing in different directions, and Frank Shepard says Longhorns have it. Oscar Giles comes up with the football. The sophomore sensation out of Palacios comes up with a turnover, and now both ball clubs with 2 turnovers.
Now this is a quarterback fault on this turnover. What happened is the back ran right into him. Watch here. Quarterback turns and runs right into the back. Boom. See right there, he gets on the wrong side of him.
3 turnovers against Tech. I beg your pardon, 2 against the Longhorns. And you see number 95, Oscar Giles, coming in onto the pile to make the recovery. 9-7. Red Raiders lead. 9:31 left until halftime. Metcalf tries to turn beyond the block. Is going to be tripped up at the 50. Boyd Cowan came across from his strong safety spot to trip him up first. Gain of 5. Good look at Oscar Giles. Out of Palacios, Texas. Another very young football player that David McWilliams thinks is going to be a true sensation before he leaves the 40 acres, Dave. Kevin Nelson and Tony Jones, the 2 wide receivers for the Horns. Running play, fumble on the play at the 48-yard line, and Texas Tech has recovered. John Elliott grabs in for the football. Did he get the recovery? Harris comes up with the football. John Elliott, I believe, as we look at the replay, is the man who caused the turnover.
We'll see it right in the middle. Watch Elliott in there. Just rip the ball back out right there.
Yep.
Good. Pull the ball out. You see the ball kind of fall down there. Harris comes up with it. But now a lot of people say, hey, wait a minute. Now these teams haven't fumbled much this season. But let me tell you, that is good tackling. When you're tackling the football, ripping it out, you got that second man coming in there, and he's hitting that football. You can't fault running backs. You want them to concentrate, but this is tough tackling. There's the story of the turnovers.
Quick count again for Tolliver. Pressure from the middle, trying to run, and he's going to be sacked. It is Warren Bolden. What a ball game that young man has had already this afternoon, coming out of a reserve role.
Well, like I said to start with, anytime you get your pride as a football player, you get that opportunity, and he hasn't had an opportunity to play. He has to have talent to be on this football team, but he hasn't had the opportunity to play, and all of a sudden he gets that chance. He says, hey, I know everybody back home's watching me. All the kids in Texas are watching me. I'm going to do something to make it exciting, and he has.
Second down for the Red Raiders. They lose 9 on the sack. As Tolliver, good protection, zings it over the middle, incomplete. And I'm not so sure that the ball wasn't tipped, was it not, Dave? I couldn't get a number in the middle, but it looked as though it was misguided at the line of scrimmage.
Well, it may have been Llewellyn over here with someone. Maybe it was Hager, but someone tipped the ball. Well, it looked as if it was someone touched that football.
I believe Hager in the middle. Britt Hager did get a hand on it.
Perhaps we can see it if we look at it quickly. Watch Hager here, number 60. As he slides along the line, I think he puts his right hand up and just touches the football. Yes, he does.
Third down for the Red Raiders. They need the Longhorn 42 to pick up the first down. Wide open over the middle, Eddie Anderson, and he drops the football. Good heavens. Oh, it was the perfect call. Boy, did they have him wide open.
Oh, they did. On that crossing pattern, he just decides the old adage, he's going to run before he catches it. Perfect ball. Just thrown right there. You can see there's coverage coming that way, but, oh, that's one that you just, oh, is that tough to swallow when you go in the meeting.
Simmons punts to Garza at the 10. All kind of trouble and some kind of coverage by the Red Raiders. As Shane steers downfield in the special teams, and it looked as though the Longhorns wanted to run a crisscross. Couldn't happen because of great coverage at a 49-yard punt. Let's take a break. We'll be right back from Jones Stadium in just a moment.
When I grow up, I'm going to take the whale. I'm going to have a big submarine like the man on TV. First, I got to learn how to swim real good. Then, I got to go to college. I got to get a marine biologically PhD. My mom and dad say I need that. They say, too, if I make good grades, they'll pay for it. My teacher says I draw frogs better than anybody.
Jefferson Pilot, Insurance and Financial Services.
When your stomach feels like this, you want this. And when your stomach feels like this, now you can choose this. Introducing new Maximum Strength Pepto-Bismol. Now there's twice the medicine, twice the Pepto. Ah.
Welcome back to Jones Stadium. Ron Franklin along with Dave Rowe and Donald McDevitt, our staff man. Good ball game, and the turnovers have been surprising for both football teams, Dave.
Well, they have been, but they've been real tough turnovers. They've been fumbles caused by good, strong tackling.
Metcalf tries to get to the outside. Sammy Walker, the right cornerback, came up to make the hit on him. And as Metcalf tried to turn it out for the big gainer, just was not able to turn the corner.
Ron, I know I mentioned earlier throwing that little run pass that Metcalf has thrown before, but I'd give that thing a charge because everybody is coming up. When Metcalf runs that sweep, you've got the safety Harris is coming up. Everybody's coming up inside to stop him and string him along the line.
Texas with a two tight end alignment, only one wide receiver on the second and long. Pitch comes back to Metcalf, turns it up at the 15, and in fact, he's not going to make the 15-yard line. Very quickly defensively was Donald Harris, the sophomore out of Waco. Young man has 2 interceptions on the year. Harris was doubtful for the ball game because of a hip injury that he had sustained a couple of weeks ago.
Well, you know, because you live here in Texas, you know the rivalry that these two teams have. It's amazing how players get well.
You know, that's one thing. It's impossible to explain to people who don't live in this area, but these kids, they know each other because they either played on the same teams or in the same districts against one another. Third down for the Hornets. They need about a yard as the pitch goes to Metcalf. Crosses the 16, and he will have the first down. You see Curtis Thrift, number 84, Charles Cephas, trying to lead on the play along with Alan Champagne, the senior center out of Cy Creek. Dal Watson came over to make the stop. You know, this might be, you suggested the play a while ago, this might be a section of the field where that pitch to Metcalf with the option pass could be a deadly weapon.
Especially with him attracting so much attention. Every time he runs the play, the safety is just flying for the corner.
Same alignment, though, Dave. 2 tight ends, only 1 wide receiver, which really gathers that defense up. Metcalf, short yardage, is Terry Lynch, the senior out of Morton, steps up to make the initial contact.
And one thing this game has over some games that we've done is I can hear the slap in the pad all the way up here in the booth. I mean, there's no denying that these young men are playing hard football. That it's indicative, of course, of the score 9-7, but it is tough football right along the line.
Tony Jones will check into the lineup as Keith Cash will head out. You see, Tony Jones is not very large himself. Of course, he's 4 inches taller than Tyrone Thurman. Tony 5'7". Murdoch looks, Tight end. Clark is there, and he's got it. Steps out of bounds at the 26-yard line.
Gosh, if he keeps this up, he's going to get his season average. Nice play by Clark, and good job of getting his foot down.
Stan Thomas, the starting right tackle for the Texas Longhorns, just limped off the field after that completion. And he is down as the trainers come up to attend to him, and Patrick McFarland has checked in replacing him. Patrick is a junior out of Van, Texas. We'll try to get a report. We said he went out earlier. It looked as though he had gotten a stinger on his shoulder. I don't know if it is a reoccurrence of the same injury or not. But Eddie Day and Spanky Stevens taking him toward the bench. 3rd down and 1, Longhorns. Metcalf has the first down at the 29.
And Ron, one of our keys to our Miller Muffs was to contain Metcalf, and they've done a good job. You can't stop that young man. You can just contain him. Now, this is Eric Metcalf. He just runs along until he sees that little seam and all of a sudden puts his head down. He's a tough inside runner, even though he doesn't have that great big size at 5'9". Now watch Derryberry. He's just running. He's keyed him all the way. You talk about attracting attention. He's just waiting for him to cut back up inside.
And look at Desmond Royal. A good job. Actually, he was blocked well in the play, but he stayed with it. Royal makes the hit, and then Derryberry helps out. And the Red Raiders with the players shaken up. Can't see his number. Now we can. Number 7, Boyd Cowan, the fine senior out of Odessa High School, is down on one knee. One more time, let's look at the musts in the ball game for Texas Tech.
Well, the Miller Lite must say that Texas Tech has got to stop the run. They have done a good job of that. They've got to have a good game by Tolliver, and he's not had a bad game. But the big one is contain Eric Metcalf, and they've done a pretty good job. They've held him to 4 and 5 yards when he's used to getting 7, 8, 9, and 10. And, of course, the Miller Lite must for Texas stop the pass. Not a bad job. They've confused Tolliver a little bit. Recover from those defensive injuries, and wow, has that one tackle. He's made it all by himself. He has really done a good job, Warren Bolden.
Texas on first down. Big trouble for Murdoch, and he is sacked. Looks like Mosley, one of the first men to come across, and then Desmond Royal, the young man we've been talking about a lot this afternoon. There's a good look at James Mosley. You know, a tough decision I think that Spike had to make this year. Mosley moved from that right defensive end to the outside linebacking spot on the right. And most of the coaches in the league feared Mosley because he was one of the best pass rushers from that defensive end position. And you can't send him as much at that linebacker spot.
That's an excellent point, and they can't. They have to use him in coverage more often.
2nd down for the Longhorns. They need 15. Draw play. Norris hit in the backfield. It is Desmond Royal again on the defensive play for the Red Raiders. It's going to be no gain, and now the Longhorns with a 3rd and 15.
And we talked about that matchup in the middle. There he is, 56. Look at this. Inside now. He comes around the wrong side of the center. What you want to do is immediately get back inside. Big hands. That's that strong upper body strength. That young man is a good football player.
Pennington, who has been injured since preseason, had earned a starting spot and has just returned. You can see number 94. Also forcing the play back to the inside. Murdoch going to go long, far sideline, and it is caught after the tip at the 20-yard line and tackled at the 17 is Tony Jones. The carom went straight into his hands.
Oh, boy, and the defender made a mistake. And I can tell you it's going to be a critical mistake. In this situation, what you have got to do is you've got to knock the ball down. Watch the defensive back. He's got a better angle at it. I think that's, is that Walker?
Yeah, Sammy Walker. And you know what? On that replay, as Texas Tech has a player down, Jones also got a tip on it. So in Walker's defense, TJ may have helped tip the ball back in his direction.
He may have, but that's, and you can see right there, Tony Jones, the 8th Texas receiver to reach 1,000 yards. But in that play, Ron, as a defensive back, what you want to do is just swat the ball down. Just knock it down. I think that may be Sammy Walker down, is it?
Well, we're trying to pick up a number. We are being told it is Sammy Walker who is shaken up on the play. So we have 3:27 left until halftime if you've just joined us. 9-7, Texas Tech on top.
Well, Ron, on that play, what you want to do, of course, every defensive back wants to intercept the ball. That's the number one stat that they love to keep. But in that particular play, you want to knock that ball down. down. Now, he still came back, of course, and made the tackle. Maybe we can see on the tail end here. Watch this. See if his own man doesn't come in and hit him. Watch right there. That's Donald Harris, I think, coming in and trying to help on that tackle. Gosh, that was a great play by Tony Jones to come down with that ball, but you've got to knock that ball away. That's almost a desperate. See, right here now, you want to just knock that ball away right there. Just knock it down. Oh, boy, that's the right place at the right time, Tony Jones. Now you'll see Donald Harris, number 2, come in there. He's the one who
that headgear came in and gave him a pretty good shot on the side of the head. It possibly dazed him for a moment. Youngster is still down in the field as the training staff taking a good look at him. Now he's up. Scores of other games. Let's update you. Navy has tallied now, but still leads or trails big to Notre Dame. LSU Ole Miss score remains the same. Tigers up by 10.
Over Wake Forest, and they are coming back from that stung. They really got stung. There's the Miami, East Carolina. Miami over them 10-0 in the second period. And Michigan off to an early lead against Northwestern 7-0 in the first quarter. Well, I don't want to speculate, but that's how you walk when you get your bell rung. You come to the sideline, you say, whoop, boy, Coach, who was that? And they'll say, it's Donald Harris hit you.
So time is back in. The Red Raiders leading by 2. About to go under 3 minutes until halftime for the Longhorns. A first down inside the 20. Metcalf turns it up at the 15, gets a block at the 10, at the 5. He will score. And Dave, that time he got a block on the outside, and that's how quickly he could do damage to your secondary and turn the corner.
Well, I can tell you there's going to be one receiver on Texas' team that's going to get a plus on this play, and I didn't get the number of it. Perhaps we might be able to see it after the kick, see who the wide receiver was that threw that block. But one of the wide receivers came down and threw a great block on the cornerback and allowed Metcalf to get to the outside. And I can tell you in the meeting, receivers don't only get accolades for pass catches, they get accolades for great blocks.
Clemens with the extra point attempt, and as you can see, he is perfect. So let's look at it one more time and see if we can pick up the number of the player you are talking about.
Well, it's right.
Well, Norris with the first block at number 11, Keith Cash, one of the Cash twins, just enough to throw Skurlock off stride, and that's all it takes with a ball carrier as quick as Metcalf.
Watch Metcalf here. He sets the block up nicely. He dips into the line. Now he gets lateral to get outside. And when he sees that little seam, he also has that explosion there. You'll see the block on Cash in the upper part of your screen right there. There's the block that really, by Cash, that really springs him to the outside and allows him to get the last 8 to 10 yards.
So we're going to take a break. 3 minutes, 10 seconds left until intermission time. And our new score, the Longhorns 14 and the Red Raiders 9. We'll be right back.
Right now, the only thing that would taste better than a nice cold one is a cold filter one.
Can you draft anymore?
Because if you want a beer whose rich, smooth draft taste hasn't been changed by heat pasteurization, we've got it down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. It's as real as beer gets.
Americans have made Top Ford the best-selling big pickup for the past 12 years. Ford, the best-built American truck, 8 years running, built Ford Top.
Eric Metcalf down on the sideline looking back into the camera. You can see the stats just a while ago that he had scored a touchdown in 10 straight football games. So the Horns in what has been a seesaw battle, and to the surprise of nobody, Dave, back on top of this one as the Raiders had gone on top, then Texas, then the Raiders came back, and now the Horns on top as the kick comes to Ty Thurman at the 4. 25 behind his blockers, and he comes all the way out to the 34-yard line. John Fuquay, number 42, downfield on the special teams. Talkington trying to block on the play and pay it away. As you see Little Ty heading back to the huddle.
And you could hear the yells on the sideline. Come on, offense, we got to get something on this. We got to get something. And they do need something on this drive. As we look at the 95-yard drive by Texas, 10 plays, of course, capped by that Eric Metcalf 17-yard run.
Look at the offensive set as Thurman right behind the right guard. Tolliver, screen, back to the near side to Gray. Going to be tackled by Dwayne Duncombe as he comes out close to the 40. The play was ideally set up. Good call and a great stay at home by Duncombe to come over and make the tackle.
Boy, it was a great play selection because the screen developed so late. Usually screens have a tendency, everybody runs out there and you get it. You can see they're waving off a flag.
Dave, what was they used to call, in fact, in a formation that they used to line up with the running back right behind the guard? Quail? Is that what it?
Well, I know the one that you mean where they line up right behind the back and take off on the motion. Yeah. I don't remember what that was called, but you're right. That was they're doing a lot of that with Tyrone Thurman in his little backfield motion. They start him off just before the snap.
Tolliver on second down. Wide open over the middle is Price. He will score. 62 yards. There he is, Travis Price, who has just scored from 62. And, buddy, he looked like the first guy out to practice.
He looked like they opened the door and they said, hey, let's run out there and see what happens. And now we're going to have a timeout for Texas Tech. So let's take another look at that, Ron. That had to be a breakdown in coverage. You'll see Price is right across the middle. Now watch Tolliver. Good fake action here. Look strong side. Now watch him. All of a sudden, boom, I'm coming back strong side. Holy mackerel, who's that out in the middle? Look at this. Nobody within. You don't even see anybody in the screen near him.
Texas in a deep zone, it appeared.
Now we can see it here. You'll see the safety going strong side. Here comes Price right out in the middle. Now look how open he is. When the safety bit on the strong side coverage, that had to be a break in coverage because there was nobody down the middle.
2:45 left until halftime, and just that quickly, the Red Raiders have gotten back to the scoreboard to go in front. And Midnight Raider is ready to make a ride again. Tolliver comes back onto the field. They lead 15-14. And with the play that comes in from the bench, looks like the Red Raiders are going to go for a couple here, Dave.
Well, if they go for two in this situation, it'll put them up 17-14. Of course, then the field goal just ties.
Power eye set to the right side. That's Gray, wants to throw the ball, and it is knocked down and incomplete. Stanley Richard came up high over the top. Dwayne Duncombe was there also on the cover. Take a look at it yourself from ground level.
Well, this is a run pass, but it's not a very good pass. You can see there's really no place to throw this football. Texas was not fooled, played it very well. Good coverage. You see 3-4 people in there.
Stanley Richard got a hand on it. That's an extremely tough pass to ask a running back to throw because he's going against the grain to throw it.
Throwing across the body, right.
Yep.
Running to the left and trying to square those shoulders up and throw a strike. But there was no place to throw it.
Don't forget, you can order tickets to the 1989 Cotton Bowl Classic by sending a check or money order for $30 per ticket to Cotton Bowl Tickets, Post Office Box 569-420. That's Dallas, Texas, 75356. 9420, or you can call area code 214-638-2695. Weekdays to order by phone. That's weekdays on the phone number. This year's game is set for Monday, January the 2nd. Don't miss it. The excitement of the Cotton Bowl.
And, Ron, if you want tickets for the Mobile Cotton Bowl, you better call up because I understand there's just a few tickets left. So if our fans out there want tickets, you better do it this week.
15-14. Texas Tech on top. Almost like a basketball game as far as the lead changes that we've had. Sickers with a kick. Strong leg, strong wind, and that's a deadly combination as it goes right through the uprights.
Now that's a 75-yard field goal, wasn't it? Boy, that's a long kick. It did clear the goalpost. Touched right on top of him, skimmed through.
Special teams coaches love to see that. Simply...
Now, maybe we can take another peek at that real quick. Watch it hit right in the middle of the crossbar from 75 yards away.
I'd say that kick was true to the middle of the field.
It really was. It right on the arm that holds the crossbar up.
So now the Longhorns have 2:45 to work with, and now trailing by 1. Metcalf squirms his way across the 25 as James Mosley finally corrals him. Out close to the 30, and they're going to say he stopped at the 28.
Gosh, I love the vision on that young man. As we look at the time, 2:30 remaining. That's one of the great advantages that Metcalf has. When you look at him and you look at his face, he has those eyes that can almost see behind him. He has great peripheral vision when he gets into the hole.
Metcalf on 2nd and 2. Desmond Royal steps up into the pile, knocks him down for no gain, and it's going to be 3rd down Longhorns, and they need a couple.
Now, if you're Texas Tech, you may want to use a timeout in this situation. They're under 2 minutes. They have all their timeouts left, I believe.
Only one, I believe.
Excuse me, you're right. I think they only have one left. That's probably why you want to wait until 3rd down after this play.
Metcalf has the 1st down, coming across the 31 to the 32 as Charles Rowe, the sophomore out of Killeen, grabs him around the ankle to make the stop.
And Ron, now the chest match. Now it goes a little bit different. Now, if you're Texas Tech, you say, run the clock, get it started, let's go, hustle up.
James removing. The clock shows 1:37, and now it's whistled back in. Tony Jones asked for a block, couldn't get to the sideline, and Skurlock makes the tackle, and now a marker, and now another one from deep downfield.
Boy, nice play by Skurlock to keep him in bounds. That was his primary objective on that, not let him get out of bounds.
David, I think when he was asking for the block as he was pointing to the wide receiver, I believe clip is going to be called on the Longhorns. So they picked up the 1st down, and there you see the signal from Frank Shepard. It is indeed a clip. And that look on David McWilliams' face will tell you.
Well, watch here. You'll see it's a crossing pattern where he finds Jones. Now, Skurlock is number 5. He's going to be way to the left. Now, all he's doing right there is saying, keep me in bounds. And there's the clip, I believe, right in the back there. I think it almost happened after the play was over. Now we go back to, now we can use the clock again if you're Texas Tech. If you're Texas, let it run.
108, 107. It is a 1st down and 13. Metcalf out to around the 34. Dal Watson comes from that left outside linebacking spot, and now the Longhorns with no huddle. Clock is down to 47, now 46. Murdoch gets it in the flat. Kerry Cash will step out of bounds, and he's going to have the 1st down at the 43.
Well, Texas has all 3 of their timeouts left, Ron, if I'm not mistaken. With 38 seconds, if they can use those timeouts quickly.
Clock shows 38 ticks left until intermission time. Longhorns back to the line of scrimmage quickly. Reason for the delay is they're waiting for the chain gang to get settled across the way. And now a timeout by Texas Tech with 38 seconds left until halftime.
Well, that was a surprise to me. Why Texas Tech would call a timeout?
Well, when you look at it, and the fact that after the out-of-bounds play, the clock was not going to start anyway, so they're not going to give Texas any benefit here.
That's a good point.
With the exception of talking over the play, but Tech also wants to make sure that they are set on defense, I would feel sure.
Right. Well, this game has been everything we thought it would be, Ron. We thought it would be a chess match. Two coaches that are good friends, have served on the same staff together. And boy, I was talking with Spike down the field, said, we're going to get after them. And they've gotten after them, but Texas has certainly gotten back after Texas Tech, so it's been what we thought it would be.
Yeah, your point is well taken. As well as these two staffs know one another, I'm not sure that of any game on the schedule that they hadn't rather win this one, just simply because they know each other so well. Coach McWilliams had an interesting statement. Talking about what Spike Dykes said, that he had an interesting statement during the week, and the fact that this is the kind of game that you want to win the ball game. You don't necessarily want to beat somebody. And he said that's how you talk in terms of good friends. 15-14, Red Raiders on top. And the big story of the first half actually has been turnovers for both ball clubs. Murdoch, big pressure is on. He gets the screen off to Norris. In trouble, and he's going to be dropped for a loss. Mike Derryberry, the middle linebacker, caused the whole thing to go awry, and immediately Murdoch says timeout, and that stops the clock. 29 seconds left. Here's a look around the league. Today's ball games. TCU is at Houston. Rice is at Arkansas.
When you get down this time of the season, you know how important those games are in that hunt for that Cotton Bowl spot.
Standings in the Southwest Conference. To update you on that situation, of course, the Razorbacks, we had them on last week against the Houston Cougars. They have a perfect mark, not only in the conference, but for the entire season. A&M also perfect in the conference. Then Tech and TCU, Longhorns 1-1, Houston at 1-2, and in fact that's their ball game next week from Memorial Stadium in Austin. The Longhorns taking on the Houston Cougars, and then Baylor and Rice. Situation here, and you can see bright sunshine and not a cloud in the Lubbock area this afternoon. 69 degrees at kickoff time.
I know I talked with a couple of players down there yesterday during practice. They said, oh, this is wonderful. It's not 90 degrees.
Yep, and it has been very warm earlier part of the week here in Lubbock. Murdoch dumps the pass off to Metcalf. Derryberry from his middle linebacking spot comes over. Also some help from Dow Watson. Going to be a gain of 4, and the Longhorns will stop the clock again, this time with 19 seconds left.
Well, the first thing you think of when you stop the clock in your own territory is how close do they have to get for a field goal. Clemens has got a long of 55 this year. You would probably know if he had anything longer than that in his career, wouldn't you, Ron?
55 is the longest, in his career, yeah. Let's take a look at the remaining Raycom schedule. Dave was talking about coming down the home stretch in the Southwest Conference next week at Memorial Stadium. Then on November the 12th, it is a journey to Fort Worth and Amon Carter as the Longhorns take on the Horned Frogs. Then the Frogs are on again the following week on the 19th against the Texas Aggies, that one in College Station. And then on the 26th, Rice will take on Houston. That one scheduled for the Gastrodome. 15-14 our score. Texas Tech on top. And the last couple of minutes has taken a little bit of time to play because of all the timeouts that have been used. Tech has no more timeouts left, and the Longhorns do have one remaining. Situation, Murdoch with a third down at 10 yards for the first. Hit ball is incomplete at 33. Darnell Pratt hit him from the side just as the pass was being delivered, and it will be fourth down Longhorns.
And now you bring on an exciting little player who's just walking about the 30-yard line, Mr. Tyrone Thurman. And he's a guy with 13 seconds. He can cover a lot of ground. I would look for Texas to just kick this ball. Don't try to kick it to Tyrone Thurman. Try to kick it high and get good coverage.
Reed loads it off. Fair catch is called for and made at the 27-yard line. Boyd Cowan, one of the shallow receivers just inside the 25, comes up and makes the catch. It's a 30-yard punt. And now the Red Raiders with 7 seconds left. 7 seconds left until halftime.
Well, having an arm of Billy Joe Tolliver, and there's no telling what he may try to do. He may try to throw this thing long. He may be happy just to go in 15-14, may just drop down to a knee or run just a safe running play.
Well, Stanley Richard, the safety, is all the way back out of your picture. He is well to the left. He's back at the 50-yard line, playing a deep center field with 7 seconds left. They'll go with the running play. That's Gray being tackled at the 32, and that'll be the final play of this first half. So they head to the locker room. 15-14. Texas Tech on top. And as we talked off the top of the telecast this afternoon, two ball clubs who knew each other very well were matched well in many areas. And I think when we look at the stats, we can tell by the big stat on the board, a one-point game. I think it has been very close to what everyone had expected in the opening half, that nobody was going to take it and run away with it.
That's exactly what we thought. Texas Tech looked as if they would with those 2 early field goals, but then Texas roared right on back, capitalized on that mistake. But this has been everything that what we expected it to be. We expected it to be a close football game.
Today's game is being brought to you by Apple Computers, by Ford and your Ford dealers, by GPE, by Miller Lite, and by NCMB Texas. There you see our halftime score with the Red Raiders leading by 1. We're going to take a break. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
The Dallas Police Force and the Public Trust, Sunday at 12:30.
Hi, I'm Joannie Suzu, Joe's twin sister, and I love these Isuzu Trooper 2s. They're roomy enough for all your wild Indians. Perfect for grocery shopping. And with their optional automatic transmission and more powerful engines, you can drive anywhere. The Isuzu Trooper 2, rugged yet so chic.
Act now and get a $750 factory cash rebate on any Trooper.
There are monuments in this state, famous men, famous battles, and even presidents. But the largest monuments by far are those to our American way of life. Huge mountains of garbage serve as reminders of our throwaway society. Like a cancer growing on the land, our nastiest problem may be our most unsolvable problem. And the crisis is becoming waist deep, a disturbing special assignment series beginning Tuesday on the News 8 Update.
We're back at Jones Stadium in Lubbock, Texas, on the South Plains, and we've talked about the gorgeous weather here in Lubbock this afternoon, and a fine ball game, a 1-point difference with Tech on top, 15-14. And now let's bring you more of the color and excitement of college football. Let's go down to the field, and they call themselves the pride of the Southwest, the University of Texas Marching Band. Tech University.
Entering the future, the University of Texas at Austin is doing its part to help the nation meet the challenges of the 21st century. Providing comprehensive undergraduate education, nationally ranked graduate programs, broad-ranging research. Educated minds are this nation's greatest resource.
Many people assume that Texas Tech has strong programs in technology. We do. Our faculty are known worldwide for their work in lasers, disaster research, and computers. But Texas Tech is also the Health Sciences Center, improving medical care in West Texas. And Texas Tech is law, and business, and agriculture, and more than 150 other fields from the arts to zoology. At Texas Tech, our students find their horizons unlimited.
5 days is no time at all, so let's get moving. First, Ivan, I know your group can make these numbers look presentable. Got it. Next, we'll need work from every department. Who's set up for that?
Our computers are tied in.
Great. Mike, how long for graphics?
2-3 days max.
Not good enough.
Our computer can do it in a day.
It's yours. Joni, typesetting and printing?
About a week on overtime.
Now, hold on. Now, who published this?
We did, on the computer.
Well, do it again. Joe, how long for a production flow chart? We're jammed. We'll do it as fast as we can. Ivan, help him out. Last, we need presentation overheads. Any ideas?
Life is a series of challenges. And for over 80 years, Jefferson Pilot has helped people face those challenges, reach their goals, and take advantage of life's opportunities through our insurance, financial services, and communication companies. It's something we're very proud of. The Jefferson Pilot Companies, we help put a brighter face on the future.
Don't let high airfares push you out of the vacation picture. Try our new one-way fun fares. Well, you waited so long for a fare to get so nice and low. Now you made it decide.
Southwest Airlines fun fares are so low. Now you can fly just for the fun of it.
Why don't you come along with us? 'Cause we got a lot of things to do. Now you really decide. Have fun, 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 flying Southwest on a fun fair today. Fun, fun, flying on a fun fair today.
Look to Raycom Sports and Entertainment for the best in regional collegiate sports action all year round. We'll be bringing you a full slate of exciting Southwest Conference football action. And for the pageantry and drama of postseason play, turn to Raycom December the 28th for coverage of the Liberty Bowl, featuring one of college football's most dramatic halftime shows. Looking ahead to basketball, Raycom presents a full schedule of Southwest Conference action. And on December the 2nd and 3rd, it's Raycom's Diet Pepsi Tournament of Champions, featuring North Carolina, Arizona, Missouri, and Temple. From college football to college basketball, Raycom Sports and Entertainment has the games you want to see. And to celebrate the accomplishments of televised sports, Raycom is proud to present live coverage of the Emmy Awards for Sports, an evening that brings you the year's most exciting moments in sports captured on television. Raycom Sports and Entertainment, where quality shows.
And we are back at Jones Stadium in Lubbock, Texas. Ron Frankel along with Dave Rowe, and we talked about nobody had been disappointed in this one. I think as we look at the highlights right here, we'll be able to show some of the give and take and the good plays that have happened in this opening 30 minutes, Dave.
Well, it certainly has been. It's been back and forth. Of course, Tech came down and kicked those 2 field goals, and then Texas came down with this touchdown pass out to Kerry Cash, and it made it 7-6, Ron. Then, of course, back came Texas. No, this was Tech, excuse me, when it came back.
Sechrist with the 47-yard field goal.
Boots this one home, and it puts the Red Raiders back on top by a count of 9-6.
6-7. The Secrets had a very good first half.
And then, of course, Eric Metcalf took that 18-yard run, or he took a pitch around here, got a great block here on by Cash on the cornerback to get the corner. Right there's the block. You can see that the cornerback is unable to come out there. Metcalf carried it in. They went ahead 14-9.
All right, it didn't take very long for this play to occur right here, and Price just so wide open.
Well, it's broken down coverage, and Tolliver found him across the middle on a 62-yard touchdown pass. You can see no one in the screen. Of course, that brought it to the present score, 15-14, Texas Tech leading.
So, Dave, if you go in at halftime, obviously you tell your players concentrate. Both have turnovers in the first half, which they would love to have back. One that was damaging to Tech happened just inside the 10-yard line. It led to a touchdown. But beyond that, what are these two coaches saying in the locker room? What have they got to have in the second 30 minutes to win this one?
Well, I think they still have to do the same muck that we just talked about. I think they have got to contain Metcalf if you're Texas Tech. I think Tolliver's had a good game, and they've driven down. What you're trying to do is just tell them not to make the same mistakes, not to fumble the football, be opportunistic, but they played a great football game. There's not a whole lot to say at halftime.
Okay, right now it is time for the Jefferson Pilot Southwest Conference Player of the Week, brought to you by the Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company. Kendall Trainer of the University of Arkansas is this week's Jefferson Pilot Southwest Conference Player of the Week. He made 4 field goals against Houston as the Razorbacks remained undefeated. Trainer now has made 15 straight field goal attempts, one short of the Southwest Conference record.
But we lost, Grandpa.
So you lost. The ball didn't work. Come on, I'll buy you a drink. Uh-oh. Is there any money?
Uh-uh.
What's this?
Wow.
And this? You're a walking piggy bank.
Wow.
There you go.
What about you, Grandpa?
I'll have a sip of yours.
That's an awful big sip, Grandpa.
I'm an awful big guy. Now let's see some of that fancy footwork.
Don't let high airfares push you out of the vacation picture. Try our new one-way fun fares.
Well, you waited so long for a fare to get so nice and low.
Southwest Airlines fun fares are so low. Now you can fly just for the fun of it.
Why don't you come along with us? 'Cause we got a lot of things to do now. Now you're ready to fly. You'll have fun, fun, fun. Flying Southwest on a fun fair today. Fun, fun, flying on a fun fair today.
To capture your interest, we've decided to raise ours. For a limited time, you can get our fully insured high-yield plus CDs. But that's not all. For the first 90 days, we'll pay you a bonus rate, up to 15% APR on a 5-year CD. Now that we have your interest, maybe we've got your attention. So come by for details on all our high-yield plus CDs. Only from NCNB, Texas. Member FDIC.
It's one tough team to make, the academic All-American. You have to excel in sports like football, baseball, or volleyball, but athletics isn't enough. You must also be an outstanding student. Each year, the College Sports Information Directors of America select these special student athletes. GTE is proud of them. And as sole sponsor of the Academic All-Americans, we're honored to be part of it.
15-14, our halftime score. One of the things we're going to be keeping you up to date on in the second half, 2 guys who are fantastic at all-purpose yardage. Ty Thurman has 131 in all-purpose yardage, and for Eric Metcalf, 117. Situation for Metcalf, if he reaches 200 this afternoon, he will break a Southwest Conference record for total all-purpose for career, and the gentleman who holds it, who played here at Texas Tech, by the name of Donnie Anderson. Right now, it's time for this week's Classroom Champion.
Classroom Champion is presented by GTE.
Texas defensive tackle Steve Llewellyn has played all season long despite being injured. As a role model, what advice does he offer youngsters?
Basically, I just tell you to set your goals high and do everything you can to achieve those goals and do the best you can in everything you do. And nobody can ask more than that of you than you doing the best that you can do. And I think above above all just to believe in yourself and believe that you can accomplish those goals.
1988 has been an erratic year for Texas Tech, but one place where Spike Dykes' team remains consistent is in the classroom.
Coaching stress, attending class, and I found that's really the key to, success in the classroom. If you miss a day, you're missing, hour and a half worth of notes and stuff, so going to class is real important.
Guys, you're not going to believe this. Did you hear Mike was named to GTE's academic honor team? Everything comes easy to that guy. I'll bet he doesn't even have to study to get good grades. And he spends half his time at the pizza place.
The GTE Academic Honor Team was created to honor outstanding student athletes like Mike, because we know not everyone gives them the recognition they deserve.
Get the flash in the heat of day. Just a sip and you're gonna say, hey, 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 can't stop it, can't stop it. Feeling again from the Coca-Cola classic. Can't beat the feeling.
Win a trip to the Cotton Bowl or the Hula Bowl in Hawaii. Enter the Coca-Cola Southwest Conference Superfan Sweepstakes. Look for the Coca-Cola display at your nearest Kroger supermarket.
It's been the world's best-selling car 6 years running. Maybe it's because of features, reputation, or overall value. Whatever it is, it's no big surprise if you've driven a Ford Escort lately.
Winning the world over. Have you been behind the wheel? Winning the world over.
Now get a $400 cash bonus on Ford Escort.
Somewhere, right now, there's a clean, crisp, ice cold, beetroot-aged Budweiser with your name on it.
Now let's take a look at our Budweiser halftime statistics. First downs even, yards rushing.
That's a little bit of a difference. Texas Tech has not been able to run the football. You take away that 62-yard pass play they got, and they're even in the passing game, of course. But the big story, I think, has been the turnovers, Ron. 3 by Texas and 3 by Tech.
And Dave, the flip around, it was second period for the Texas Longhorns because they were down by 3 minutes, as best I remember, at the end of the first 15 minutes of play in time of possession. 9 minutes to 6 minutes, so they really came back with a good job of possession of the ball in the second period to go in front there. In fact, over 10 minutes, almost 10 and a half minutes.
It certainly did. Well, statistics are oftentimes telltale facts, and this fact show that we have an even football game, and we certainly do in the score with Tech leading 15-14.
And that's today's halftime stats, brought to you by Budweiser.
Helen, I just looked at these numbers. They're pretty grim.
Those are computer costs.
Didn't we pay for those systems last quarter?
We did, but those are training costs.
Well, let me get this straight. We're spending more on training than we did on the computers? Boston doesn't show these costs.
They use a different system.
So?
Apparently with their computers, the people can train themselves.
My mother always wanted me to be a success. Now I've got my own company. But I never realized how much it costs to take care of your people. Like retirement plans, disability. You know, medical coverage is a lot more than a couple of first aid kits and a part-time nurse. Then there's dental insurance. I have to take care of 32,000 teeth. Are you happy, Mom?
Jefferson Pilot Insurance and Financial Services.
Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company. And by Coors Extra Gold. Some other scores on the Apple Roundup today. Updating Notre Dame. That is now final as they win over Navy in the fourth period. LSU with a 10-point lead over Mississippi.
And how about that Clemson Wake Forest 24-14 in the third period?
Miami 17-0 over East Carolina. They're at halftime.
And then Michigan leading Northwestern. Not a real surprise there. And with the Oklahoma State only 7-7. Now that's a little bit of a surprise. I don't think Kansas State has won this season, so they've got to be excited. That probably is early in the first period.
Other scores, Penn State trailing West Virginia. West Virginia, the Mountaineers, may be underrated, Dave, and they're number 7. A lot of folks think that they're as good as there is in the country. Oklahoma, look at Kansas. They tallied 10 against the Sooners in the first.
That's surprising. Nebraska and Missouri early. Nebraska ranked 5th coming into this game in the first period. That's kind of a big day for Kansas to be in 2 football games at the same day.
One of the attractive young spectators here in Lubbock, Texas this afternoon. A capacity house, close to 50,000. And in fact, the people in the end zone to our left, they are really basking in the sunshine, and there's not much area. There you can see it with the double T there. There are not many open areas in that slot right there. And they're lying down in the grass, enjoying 69 degrees, and that breeze coming out of the northwest this afternoon. The redhead from Boyd, Billy Joe Tolliver. And listening up on the sideline. Spike Dykes, his ball club with a 1-point lead over the Longhorns, and the decision since Texas deferred until the second half, as you look at David McWilliams, what will happen is Texas will get the wind in the third period.
So that's saying that Texas is going to kick off both times. That's a little surprise. They must think the wind is playing a more important factor. No, Texas is going to receive. I'm sorry, they did take the football. They just took the wind. That's what they got in the third quarter. I thought there for a minute Texas would kick off both times, and I said, now that would be a real surprise.
Just visiting with Steve Ross, the spotter for the Texas Longhorns, and asked him about Stan Thomas, starting offensive tackle on the right side, who was injured with about 5 minutes to go in that first half. Steve says they don't know if he will return in the second half or not. Here's the kickoff. Knuckleball into the wind, and that's Samuels at the 12. 35, breaks it across the 40, and he's out to the 42-yard line as Skurlock saved an even longer gain, and Chris Samuels puts the Longhorns in excellent field position.
Well, it's been an impressive day so far. Mr. Murdoch hasn't made any real mistakes. He threw that one interception that was tipped over the middle, but I think that young man's had good poise in the first half.
11 of 17 for Murdoch for 144 yards, and as we look down at the field, Patrick McFarland is starting in the place of Stan Thomas over there at right tackle. Metcalf across the 50. He's going to have a gain of 11 yards in the play. Skurlock comes over to make the stop. And that quickly, the Longhorns with a gain of just over 10 in the play.
Nice run by Metcalf. We talked about his vision. Look at the quick feet that he has.
Changed by Norris there to clear the way.
Nice play there. Good block by Norris on that power block.
Keith Cash brings in the play from the sideline. You can see him coming into the huddle talking with Murdoch. As you look at those numbers, 1 touchdown and 1 interception in the first half. That was picked off by Mike Derryberry, the junior out of El Paso. Metcalf dances back up into the hole, puts the head down. That was Cowan, Boyd Cowan, who was trailing him. And you see big number 90, Terry Lynch, senior out of Morton, who caught him from the backside. But with all that going on, Dave, and it doesn't look like much gain, all of a sudden on the chains across the way, it's a pickup of very close to 6 yards.
Well, I have got to believe that Metcalf likes to run on AstroTurf better than he does natural surface, because those cuts are almost impossible on a natural grass surface.
Norris, quick handoff. inside the 40. Don't believe he's going to have the first down. Is it going to mark him just inside the 39? Mathesmeyer, he's a junior out of Amarillo, Texas, corralled Norris. As we see Jeff Carter checking into the defense for the Texas Tech Red Raiders as they look for the short yardage situation.